Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel, and we're here again at Autoshack, and this week we have got something very special indeed for two reasons. So this is a 2015 AMG GT S. It's the 4-litre V8 twin turbo, which in itself is a super rare car, but this one in particular is special to me because the owner has come to us all the way from Surrey, over 100 miles away, purely from watching the Super Ron videos. He had a few jobs he needed doing on it, and he's made the 2.5-hour journey just to have it in here with us. It's great to meet such an enthusiastic viewer, and sometimes when I'm just down here on my own, just filming away, I wonder, is anyone actually watching these? But having him here, having him walk through the Autoshack tunnel, looking around the workshop and talking about all the previous videos, that is definitely one of the satisfactions I get from this job. So as you can see, this is an amazing looking car. Very Grand Tourer style, nice, sleek, small cabin, massive long bonnet, huge wheels and flared wheel arches, and it's got the performance to match. And although you're covered in luxury inside, it'll sprint to 60 in 3.8 seconds and carry on to 193 miles per hour. So it has got the performance to go with its aggressive looks. So we've got a small list of jobs to do on it. It's got an engine management light on, which I've just plugged it into the machine, and it's coming up as a misfire on cylinder 8, so we'll investigate that. A couple of the blinds and visors inside aren't working, so we're going to replace them as well and give it a full service, all with genuine parts. The car's done 55,000 miles, so there is a likelihood that the spark plugs haven't been changed on the service schedule yet. So we're going to start with the plugs, look at the coil packs and go from there. I know these are a dry sump system, so it'll have an oil tank somewhere in the engine bay, like the Lamborghini that we did, but what a cool car. It's the kind of thing you'd only see in computer games, or its bigger brother, the GTR, as the F1 pace car, and what an honour it is of the circumstances that's brought it to us. When these came out to succeed the SLS, AMG developed a new engine, which is 2 4-cylinders out of the A45 into a V, put the hot side inside turbos in the middle, which resulted in the GTS pushing out 503 horsepower. And I can assure you that the normal AMG exhaust tone is there, and it sounds amazing. So it's quite fitting that we've got a similar era 911 here, because these were rivals at the time, and you can see the similarity in roof shape, window shape, but these look so much more aggressive. These have got a huge bonnet, so there should be a nice lot of room in there, so let's have a look. Well, although they are a huge bonnet, the engine is all the way back there. And under the bonnet, we have the 4-litre V8 twin turbo. They push out just over 500 horsepower. There's the turbos together in the middle, just like the new RS6s, the new M5s. You can see how long the bonnet is and how far back the engine sits behind the front wheels. So all of this in the front is just coolers and airbox, and quite a big crumple zone, but it's just to get that weight back. These have a huge nose, and with all that power, they've got these massive brakes as well, filling up the 19-inch wheels. But we need to find the coil packs. So I think they're in pairs. So we have got one pair there, and the other one is just down there. There's the other one there, and there'll be one under there. There's only 4 coil packs in pairs. I think this is just a cover under here. Yeah, so they make good use of the room. So it's a pretty cool setup. It's a twin turbo V8, like my RS6, but on my RS6, they have the exhaust on the outside, like the traditional setup. They put all their turbos inboard, which kind of makes sense. That leaves all the hot air at the top just to go out, rather than being down the bottom and heat soaking everything that it rises to. So we've got twin air boxes. They go into each turbo, and it looks like we've got charge coolers down here. So it comes out of the turbo into the charge cooler, and then the inlets are on the outside, both sides. So we've got our reservoirs under here. That's probably coolant, charge cooler, and power steering, I would have thought. Got a few balance bars. They're the recirculating wastegates, which are all electronically controlled. Got 2 actuators each side. ECU on the top there. This seems more and more common these days as well, having an ECU right at the top of the engine bay for whatever reason. We've seen this on a few cars now. So what I've got to find out is how easy is it going to be to get to the coil packs. I've just found the bonnet has actually got a service mode, which is going to be handy, where it keeps on going up, up, all the way up. So that's giving me a little bit more clearance to get down in here, and I can actually see what I'm doing now. Right, first things first, let's get all this covered up. It's better. Right, well, it looks like it's going to be a full reacher. So let's get some mats. Don't want to dent the wings. And start having a look down in here and see what we can see. And we're back together. What an absolute mission that was. I thought it was going to be quite easy because you can just about see a coil pack there. But the other one is under there, and both sides are under this breather pipe that's at the bottom. And this one has a fuel rail going over as well. So the rails had to come out, the breather pipes had to come out. Even on this side, there's a breather pipe down there in the middle, which actually goes over the second coil pack there. So there was a whole load of work getting all that out, but we're all back together. And luckily it was quite clear when we took the coil pack out on 7 and 8. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but this one's actually bulged out and it's a bit bubbly on all of them. So we've put a full new set of coil packs in, and the plugs don't look in great shape. These are quite possibly the original plugs in it, because it's only done 55k. That was a spark plug for number 8. You can see how dirty it is down in number 3. So they were well due for a change. So now it should fire up. So next up, we've just got the oil change to do, and these are a dry sump system, so they don't keep the engine oil in the engine. There's a tank down here, that's where you put the oil in, and that's where you check your dipstick. So there's a big oil tank in there, so I'll have to drain that out. Hopefully there's a drain plug just below it, and then refill. So let's get it up in the air and drain it all out. So let's have a look underneath. Quite a lot of flat floor. I did notice when I tried to jack it up at the back, there's all flat floor and diffusers all at the back. Everything's pretty chunky under here. Lots of under trays. Huge great shocks. The size of them. So looking under here, it is a dry sump system, like I said, and that was up in the wing, so there should be a drain, somewhere about there. Makes sense. So we'll drain the oil out of there, then there'll be one in the sump as well. Sure is. And I think this is the oil filter. I thought that was a gearbox filter at first, but we've got the bell housing here, so that is in the sump. All very strange layout on these, because you've got the turbos in the middle, you've actually got the inlets on the outside where the exhaust manifolds would usually be. So we've got the plastic inlets each side up there, then they'll go forwards to the charge coolers under there. Got another cooler under there coming through the vents. Very cool. So first of all, we'll dump the dry sump tank, then we'll drain the sump and the filter as well. Let's see how much we're left with. That's a lot of oil. That's a big drain hole. 5 litres in 5 seconds. Exactly 5 litres. Let's see how much is in the engine. Another litre. So I've collected this as well, and we've got 5 litres from the dry sump tank, and then we've got another 1.8 litres there from the filter and the sump. And that's just below our 7 litres, so that works out about right. It's always good to check with these oddball cars, because sometimes it can be miles off. And of course we've got a genuine filter, but this is a genuine AMG filter. So let's slot that in. And we're all torqued up. Got the dry sump tank all done and marked. Got the sump plug all done and marked. So that's all good. And the oil filter. And I couldn't leave this job without a super on signature. So there it is. The computer says 7 litres for a refill. So let's get it in. Just done another scan on it, and big tick, no codes present. Winner, winner. Just inside now, because another little job he asked me to look at is, don't know if you can see in here, the sun visor. The mirror's actually broken. But luckily, you can still get these from Mercedes-Benz, so we've got a new sun visor to go on. So I'll hook that in. I reckon they've got some wires. Make the light go on and off. Hook that over now. Pop it off there. And we haven't got any wires. That's clever. It's got 2 little contacts there and 2 little contacts up there. So when that clips in, that's what makes the contacts. Nice and easy. Well done, Mercedes. Right, let's get this new one in. New one all on. Light works from those little contacts there. Very cool. So that's a tick off. Right, onto the boot. In the boot, it's got a bit of a problem with the rear parcel blind. Doesn't retract anymore, so that should just sit in there and in there, and then you've got your boot open space when the back's down. But so we've got a new one of them. Hopefully we'll just pop some trims off and get that in. Another one, not too bad. Managed to sneak out those side panels. And then it just sits in a trough. A screw each end, goes in there. So here's the old one. Here's the nice new one. New one in. That's better. Let's get these trims back in. Trims all in. On. we've got our little boot bit and we can finish here. Right, let's take this for a little test drive, make sure everything's okay when it's up and moving. It's really weird proportions. It's like a little Hot Wheels car. The cabin's quite small, the bonnet's really, really long, and it's sitting right down on the floor. And the exhaust is literally right behind you because you're almost sitting on the back wheels. Even as luxurious as all this is, the exhaust note sounds like it's inside the cabin. We've hit rush hour here. The speed and the noise align perfectly. Right, we'll just do our little test track. It cruises along perfectly. We're in 7th gear at 45 miles per hour, barely off tick over. But even in just drive, you put your foot down and it takes off. I've never really been a Mercedes man, I've always been into Audis and VWs, but I do like the German cars. And there is something about the exhaust note on the AMGs, they've all got that loud cackle. Just does sound amazing. I think I could get used to this. Not quite sure where I'd put the children, but I'll just have to let them fight for the front seat. Cool, it's got a little boost gauge in the middle of the dash as well. Just to remind you, you've got those twin turbos just in front of you. We're all good, no engine management lights came back on, so I think it's those coil packs have solved the problem. So let's get it back to the workshop and give it a little dust off and we'll be good to go. So that's test drive all complete, engine management light has stayed off, codes are all cleared, so that brings us to an end on this one. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have, and it's kind of cool starting to get recognition for my work as well. He said he's also got a couple of cars that he wants to bring to us. He's got a B5 RS4 as well, so that'll be cool to see. He's got a Mark 1 TT which he's hoping to bring to us as well. But for now he can come back, pick this one up and have a nice long drive home with no worries of engine management lights or misfires. Just quiet, sleek cruising. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure you give it a like and be sure to subscribe because we've got plenty more in the workshop. There's always something for everyone here. Thanks for watching, but until next time, make sure you have fun.